Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Steph and today we are doing a 24-hour readathon. If you watched my last video, then you'll know that I have been really struggling with reading since getting sick. But now I've gotten to a place where I'm actually looking forward to reading and I have a few things that I want to pick up right now. So I thought, what better way to get into the reading spirit than to do a little 24-hour readathon with myself. And I'm gonna be real and set the ground rules right now. I'm not trying to read an abundance of books. I'm just trying to get excited about reading for the next 2 days. So the likelihood of me getting through even 2 books in this 24-hour readathon is slim, but we're gonna do our best. We're gonna try our best because our best is what we got. So it is 3:10 right now. I think I'm gonna start this readathon at 4 o'clock, and I wanted to do that because I'm definitely sleeping tonight. So I'm kind of splitting it between 2 days, but I'm not gonna do this strict 12 and 12. I'm just gonna read from 4 o'clock to 4 o'clock and I'm gonna be sleeping in the middle. But you know, it wouldn't be a 24 or 48-hour readathon on my channel if I didn't have a Target haul, because I have to get my snacks. I have to get snacks. The Target today was a little bare bones with the snacks, so I decided to try something a little bit different, new, fun, fresh. I got the veggie straws, screaming hot. I love hot Cheetos. These are definitely not going to be hot Cheeto replacers by any means, but they didn't have any more hot Cheetos. So I was like, let's pretend to be healthy and try these spicy veggie chips. It could have been a really big mistake, but I'm pretty sure I've had these before and I enjoyed them. I also have, but I got this the other day at the grocery store. I'll show you. This fiery hot popcorn from Lesser Evil. I love this popcorn. I actually love popcorn. I have a slight obsession with popcorn, if I'm honest with you. I crave popcorn a lot. I don't know why, but I do. And so I get these bags of popcorn because we don't have a microwave. And the reason for that is because we don't have room for a microwave in this kitchen. It's been a little annoying, to be honest, but it's also not the worst thing in the world. So yeah, I can't make popcorn. I could make it on the stove. Yeah, I know. I'm aware. I'm aware. Instead, I get this. So if I don't like the veggie straws, at least I have my popcorn. Okay, I also got some extra cucumbers. The only thing I will say about Target is I hate how much packaging they use for their vegetables. But anyway, I got some cucumbers. Can you guess why? Yes, because I've got to make my daily cucumber. If you don't know what I'm talking about, on TikTok and Instagram, there is this person who loves eating cucumbers and they make daily cucumber recipes. Sometimes it's kind of the same thing or a variation of the same thing, but sometimes they come out with these wild recipes with their cucumber and it looks so good. I also got some salami because I have stuff for a charcuterie board as well. Can you guess what else I got? Come on. Come on. Yeah, I did get 5 of them. Thanks for asking. I can't lie to you though, I love a canned Coke, so I did get one of their tall boys. But this is my little treat for the 24-hour readathon. I also got the Smooth Landing Advanced Retinoid Eye Balm from Versed. I really love Versed. I've used their regular retinol before. Really liked it before I moved on to more advanced stuff, but I've used this 2 other times and really have liked it, but it's always sold out and it was there today, so I grabbed it. And also I got a new cup, which I'm gonna admit that I do have an addiction to getting cute little cups, but to be fair to myself, I really wanted a nice glass travel cup, I guess, for my matchas and stuff in the morning, because I don't have one that I feel comfortable leaving the house with. And I found this one. The whole thing is glass and then it has this, so hopefully if I dropped it, it won't break. Here's hoping I just don't drop it. Also, the other thing that sold me on this is the bottom part is the actual material of whatever this is, probably silicone and not bamboo, because I had another glass that was similar to this. It's a little bit smaller and the whole lid is bamboo and it cracked. So I actually prefer this whole situation more. Okay, I'm gonna go finally make lunch and eat something, and then I will come back and update you with our first book as soon as 4 o'clock hits. Okay, we're back. I made my cucumber of the day. It's delicious. This isn't the exact recipe that he uses on Instagram, which I will link some of the recipes down below if you're interested in what I'm even talking about, but I love cucumbers, so this is like perfect. Anyway, it is 4:05, so we are officially in the 24-hour readathon. And the first book that I'm gonna try to listen to is God of the Woods. I just really wanna sit down on the couch, play some Zelda, and like read and rot until my eyeballs fall out. So I'm gonna download the audiobook for that right now. I don't think I did it earlier. And that's what we're gonna start with. I don't know if it's gonna be a hit for me. I'm not sure if this is gonna be slow or not. So if it's a little too slow, I might put it down. Let's go read and rot, eat our daily cucumber, and play some Zelda. Actually, I had a very quick change of plans. I listened to the first 20 minutes of the audiobook and I'm just not feeling it. So I decided to pivot, and I actually am going to finish a book that I was in the middle of. I wasn't planning to do that for this readathon. I kind of just wanted to start some new and exciting things, but I kind of just want to finish this audiobook. So I was listening to Out on a Limb, and this was a recommendation from a bunch of you on Instagram actually. And I started it yesterday and I got 36% in. Now, I am liking this, but this has an accidental pregnancy trope, which was not something that I expected. But luckily, before I was even that far into it, Jenny messaged me and she had told me that this has accidental pregnancy in it. I'm not necessarily someone who completely hates the accidental pregnancy trope. It all depends on how it's handled. Elsie Silver has a book that has an accidental pregnancy and I actually love it. I think it's one of my favorites. But this one, the thing that throws me off, it also has a lot of discussions about how our main character is feeling while being pregnant and like how she's sick all the time. Anyway, I'm enjoying it enough that I would like to finish it because I like the writing, I like the characters. I do like our two main characters together. I think they have great banter. I loved the scene where they meet each other at the Halloween party where they end up having a one-night stand. I love the relationship between our main character Winnie and her best friend. They have a really beautiful, almost like sisterhood, but they're not quite sisters, but they are because they were raised together, because their moms were best friends and raised them together. So they basically have a sisterhood. Like they treat each other like sisters. So I really love all of those aspects. And I like the representation, the disability representation in here. Winnie has a small hand, so it was never fully developed. And then Beau, the love interest, he has a prosthetic leg. And so I'm loving all of these elements. It's just like the pregnancy thing is really throwing me off. I completely understand the appeal. It's just not quite there for me as someone who doesn't really want kids, has no desire to have kids, who would find it to be extremely traumatic if I got pregnant unexpected. Which, I mean, that is explored. And I do appreciate the fact that they explored other options than keeping a child. Anyway, I'm gonna go finish. Hello besties, it is 8:18 and I come bearing good news. I finished a book. I finished Out on a Limb. I also had dinner and I also colored. It was very therapeutic. Sarah got me this coloring book and I'm obsessed with it, okay? You know the ones that are like super intricate and it's like, ooh, this is for stress relief. It stresses me out actually more. And this one, they're just like very simple, cozy designs and they're very cute and they're actually quite addicting to color. I was online looking for new markers for coloring books and thinking about like how many coloring books that I should buy in my life as a way to relax. Sarah, I get it now. I get the addiction to coloring. Anyway, I finished Out on a Limb And I can say, because when I updated you originally, I was 36% into it. I can say that once I hit the 50% mark, I was starting to really love this book a lot more. I love the two main characters. And like I said, I was already really enjoying them. I was enjoying the banter and the relationship dynamics, but something about them like moving in together and really trying to establish their relationship and like try to figure their shit out, I started to really enjoy it, okay? I still struggled with the whole pregnancy thing, you know, because that's like a big facet of it, and there's like lots of discussions of how she's feeling and stuff, which is valid, and I think is a very real experience for a lot of women. But when you don't really like that trope in general, it's not that fun to read in a romance book. But I found myself caring less and less as the story went on, and I just really liked the couple. I liked the hardships that they were going through together and trying to like deal with together, and I liked a lot of their banter. Their relationship was very sweet. I think I really fell for Beau, the main love interest, because his love language is definitely acts of service, and it reminded me so much of Jared, and I think that's why I started to just like really love him as a character, and I really liked their dynamic and everything. I don't know, it wasn't like this 5-star romance for me, which is totally fine. I think I would give it like a 3.5 stars. Honestly though, I'm so glad that I read it, and I'm so glad that y'all recommended it, because I would have never found out that this is a trope that I don't particularly like. Like, I'm not someone who's super triggered by pregnancy or kids in books, and so now it's just kind of teaching me a little bit about my reading taste, and I did enjoy reading it. I mean, I finished it, I didn't DNF it. I'm definitely gonna pick another book up by this author because I liked the relationship dynamics, and there wasn't a third act breakup now that I think about it. I like the way that she writes characters. I like the way that she writes found family. That's like a huge thing for me. I love that trope. So she actually checked a lot of boxes for me that makes me want to check out more, despite my feelings about the trope that was used in here. Anyway, like I said, I ate some dinner and I sampled a few chapters of books that I was interested in, and the one that was kind of sticking the most for me is Wild Fae, Lord of the Hunt. So this one is from what Tori told me, because Tori did gift this to me. Thank you so much, Tori. You are the sweetest. She did tell me that it reminded her of like an adult version of The Cruel Prince, and I actually loved The Cruel Prince. I didn't end up loving the whole trilogy, but I really loved The Cruel Prince. Like when I first read it, I gave it 5 stars. I reread it, gave it 4 stars upon reread. So I definitely loved that first book. So I'm very excited about this one. So far, I'm only 5 chapters in, so I'm just 26 pages in, and what we know is our main character, Lonnie, she's like kind of sleeping with this guy, and they end up going into the forest and sleeping together. But they have this random conversation like right before they get it on. He was like, "You were gone for so long that I almost joined the hunting party," and she's taken aback and she's like, "Are you serious?" And we find out through this conversation that the hunting party is like this contest for somebody to become the king. And the guy she's sleeping with, his name is Caliban, by the way, and I can't stop thinking about Halloween Town. Anyway, Caliban and Lonnie are getting it on in the forest, and Lonnie ends up seeing this Fae prince from afar. As they're doing it, she immediately stops everything and she's like, "Get down, be careful." Caliban's like, "I don't understand what's going on. What's wrong with you?" So it turns out that she can see the Fae prince and the Fae prince can see them, but Caliban can't see them. And this is probably going to present a lot of issues for Lonnie. I'm not at that point because I'm not that far into the book, but I think this could be really fun. I'm gonna assume that we're gonna get dual POV because the tops of the chapters say Lonnie's name. We haven't gotten the second POV, but usually, you know, one could ascertain that if the top of the book has a name of a character, there's gonna be multiple POVs, and I am really excited for that. There's been a trend going around TikTok, Instagram, everywhere, where you take your animal, specifically your cat, and you run around to see if they would survive the quiet place. Maybe I'll insert one right here, but I'm gonna do that with Goose because I have 3 cats. I have Olive, Fitzy, and Goose. And I can tell you right now, Olive and Fitzy are not gonna survive the quiet place. They are not going to survive. And it's not just me holding them and running. First off, Olive has to bring a toy to us every single night, and she has the loudest meow to indicate that that's what she's doing. She's a goner. Fitzy, absolutely not. I would not even try to pick her up because I don't want to traumatize her and make her think she's going to the vet, because that's the only time we ever really pick her up. But it's so funny, she will like flop over and let me rub her belly. She'll lay really close to me and let me rub her belly, but the moment that you indicate you're gonna try to put your hands on her, she's like, absolutely not. Have you heard of consent? Although, to be fair to her, she's very quiet, so I do think that if I picked her up and held her to run, she probably wouldn't make any noise, but I'm not gonna traumatize her today. So Goose is our only little silly guy who will do this, but I have a feeling he's gonna try to fight me because he's gonna think we're playing, but we'll find out. Goosey. This is Goose, and he loves being held. Pretty sure he's gonna start fighting me. See? He's already doing it. You did it, you're gonna survive, and you're gonna fight me the whole time. He's a survivor. Should we try it with Olive? I feel like she's gonna hate this. Hold on. Hi. She immediately went under the table, okay. No, she's not gonna do it.
You're running away. Said you're sick of the city and due for a change, but I need you to stay. Just as long as it takes me to memorize your face, I'll draw it all day. Till your eyebrows point.
Good morning. It is like 9:30 or so, and I've pretty much had a whole morning. I had breakfast, I watched some videos, I read a little bit, I showered, I got ready, and now I'm here to update you that I am actually 60% into the Wild Hunt, I think is what it's called. I kind of talked to you about it yesterday, but not really. So now that I'm 60% in, I obviously know what's going on. I will say Tori is not wrong. The comp title of The Cruel Prince for this book is so accurate. Like, it's giving those vibes completely. Our main character is human, although there's something a little bit different about her, and it's kind of hinted at throughout this book so far, so I'm sure we're gonna find out something bigger about her. But she is a human, and her sister are twins, and they're servants for the Fae. And this is very traditional Fae, very similar to The Cruel Prince, where like they don't necessarily look fully human. They have the capability of illusion, they can't tell a lie, all of that, like the very traditional Fae. And at the beginning of this book, when she is sleeping with the guy that she's like kind of involved with named Calabar, he hints at this thing called the Wild Hunt. And we further find out that the Wild Hunt is actually a hunt to kill the current king. It's the opportunity for lesser Fae and human to kill the current king to take over the throne. And they don't really have any worries about it because obviously they view humans and lesser Fae as lesser. So they're kind of like, haha, this is like a game to us because how could you lesser Fae or humans kill us? Well, our main character goes feral. She literally bludgeons the king to death with his crown. As soon as that happens, she gets thrown into a dungeon for like a year. One of the princes has a different plan in mind. And so we are seeing that plan unfold. And I don't know if this is gonna be like a love triangle or what's gonna be happening here. I don't actually know who the love interest is. I thought it was gonna be Prince Scion because Prince Scion was the prince who saw her at the very beginning when she was getting down and dirty in the woods. But I don't know if it's going to be. And then I'm like, is she gonna have a why choose moment? I don't really know. I don't really know, but I'm having a really good time. So I'm gonna go color and like, I don't know, do something with my life and continue listening to this book because I can't lie to you, I'm kind of obsessed.
Eyebrows point to your jawbone in just the right way. If you made a mistake, You can come back for a replay. I've been thinking about you these days, but you'll crash your car if you change your heart, making U-turns on the freeway, on the freeway, on the freeway. Are you coming up north like you used to? You can jump in Superior or wait on the shore and feel bad about ways that we've naturally faded. I'm fine with my life, but I'd probably trade it to see if we'd make it. You can come back for a replay. I've been thinking about you these days, but you'll crash your car if you change your heart, making U-turns on the freeway, on the freeway, on the freeway.
I quite literally just finished this, and my initial gut reaction is to give this 3 stars. There were some pacing issues with this. There's also some like world building issues, like glaring world building issues. But mainly I struggled with the overall pacing of this because some of it was extremely fast paced and then some of it was like, are we gonna get to the point of everything? I think this book struggles from obviously being a first book. I think the first book in any series often is the weakest book in the series for me, just because we are learning about the characters, we're learning about the world, we're learning about the magic system, the lore, the politics, if those like exist or are a big part of the plot line. So sometimes a first book in a series struggles, and usually that doesn't deter me from moving on to a second one, especially if I like the characters or there's like redeeming things about it, which there are a lot of redeeming things for me in this book that would make me want to read the second one. But secondly, I think this suffers from the fact of wanting to have a huge plot twist, not even huge, but like a pretty big plot twist at the end, and like it ending on a cliffhanger to want you to go into the second book. And I've noticed this with some of the fantasy romance that I've read this year. For example, A Court So Cruel and Lovely. I can never remember that title, but that one was so fun. I had a really, really fun time with it. But I've read 3 of the 4 books in that series. Every single one is leading up to this cliffhanger. Like sometimes the rest of the story doesn't even matter and the pacing just feels so off because it's leading to this cliffhanger that wants you to go into the second book. And I think that this kind of did that as well. But that being said, I had a lot of fun with these characters. Like I really liked these characters and just the way the Fae and the humans interact, and especially our main character, like her attitude towards Fae and like every interaction she has with Fae. It reminds me so much of The Cruel Prince. So I had a lot of fun having a similar experience to The Cruel Prince because like I said, I really loved it. But this does really struggle with some pacing issues because the first quarter, maybe even to 30%, I was kind of flying through the pages. And then up until 80, maybe 90% of the book, I started to kind of get bored. My reading slowed down a bit. And I kept asking myself, like, what was the point? What are we getting to here? So I had a lot of fun, and I will move on with the next one. But I just think this is a pretty average 3 stars is what I'm feeling. So I'm hoping the second one is a bit better. I feel like I'm not gonna go rush out and buy the second one. It is on Kindle Unlimited, so I'll probably read the second one on Kindle Unlimited. I don't know if I'm gonna jump right into it. Also, another indication for me when I'm reading a series is usually if I love it, my inclination is to just jump into the second one. And I actually feel like I need a break from this, which is not typical for me with series. Like I really like to marathon series. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna take a break between this one and the next one. And I've heard the second one actually has a recap. I don't know what I'm gonna pick up next. It is currently 12. So I still have 4 hours left of the readathon. I'm very aware that the next book that I pick up, I'm not gonna be able to finish in the next 4 hours. But I think 2 books is very successful for me, and I'm very excited about it because I wasn't even like sure I would be able to finish 1 full book. So I'm feeling okay. I think I've officially decided what I'm gonna read. Basically, I said at the beginning of this when I was talking about Out on a Limb, I was in the middle of 3 books, Out on a Limb being one of them, and then City of Gods and Monsters being another. I'm like 15% into this book, so I'm almost 200 pages in. And when I was reading it, I was actually having a really silly, goofy time. I think the writing is not the best. The writing is not the best in here, and sometimes it's a little bit distracting. And honestly, this is giving like Crescent City Light, like Crescent City's little sister. It's the skipper to Barbie. You know what I mean? That's what it's giving me. But I've heard that the second book in this series gets better, so I'm hoping what they mean by that is the writing gets better, because I actually think the plot itself is not that bad. Like our main character, her name is, it's not Lauren. I think it's Loren. She pronounces it at one point in the book, and my brain kind of exploded a little bit. So Loren is human, and she's at the club with her 2 best friends who are witches. And this werewolf guy tries to hit on her. She turns him down, and he gets angry. So Dallas, one of the 2 women that Loren is out with, and also her best friend, kind of tries to navigate the situation, but she starts to get a little bit angry with this guy as well. So they kind of get into this fight, and they decide they're just gonna leave. It's getting late, and the city that they live in, the city of Angelthine, is infested by these demons that come out at night, and they like human flesh. It's like, we need to get going anyway. I need to get a cab before it gets all backed up, and I can't get one to get home because I'm the one who's most at danger in this city, since these little demon dudes like my human flesh. But whatever cab that they call just never shows up, and the guys that were kind of hitting on them before and they got into an altercation with start coming out of the club. So they kind of drunkenly make the decision that they're just gonna walk home, but Lauren definitely has a lot of anxiety about this, rightfully so. And this whole trek home turns into a horrible situation, and one of Lauren's best friends, Sabine, gets taken. And this plot point kind of reveals that Lauren is being hunted, and that she was the one that was actually supposed to be taken. But then we also have Daryan, the male love interest, and he is the leader of this group called the 7 Devils. They say that the 7 Devils is the most feared dark slaying circle in the city. Daryan specializes in tracking down demons and criminals that are better off dead than alive. So yeah, he has the ability to track down people. He has like this magical ability that allows him to do that, and he can normally do it by seeing a picture of the person that he needs to track down, and he can find them that way using their aura, or he can use other means that are a little bit harder. And so he gets approached for this job to find this person that they don't have the name of, they don't have a picture of, but they have like the crushed bones of her ancestors. And he's like, okay, this is gonna be really hard. Well, obviously this is Lauren. Like, he is trying to track down Lauren. I'm just really intrigued about where this is going. You know, I'm a sucker for books that have multiple creatures. So the fact that this not only has werewolves, vampires, humans, witches, it also has other different types of creatures, and like, I'm assuming there's angels and devils in here. I mean, there's demons, so I think there's like devil-like characters. I really love urban fantasy. I grew up reading urban fantasy, and I feel like the writing is typically very cheesy, and like a lot of the plot points are typically very cheesy, but I don't know, it's just really fun, and it's silly goofy, and I'm really enjoying this. Also, I'm reading it physically because there's no audiobook, so it's like I couldn't use an audiobook to help take away the distraction of the writing, which often does help me with certain books when the writing is a bit distracting. Like, listening to an audiobook can really help with that, but this one doesn't have that. So anyway, that's what I'm gonna be reading for the rest of the readathon. Like I said, I have like 3.5 hours left, so I'm for sure not gonna be finishing this.
Standing on your front porch, kissing through a screen door. Time and soul is running out. It's probably best to say the things you really feel out loud. But babe, if you believe it, say it like you mean it.
I've been munching on these nerd clusters. They're the spooky nerd clusters. I'm pretty sure they're orange and grape. So good. Anyway, I've been eating those and I switched to my Kindle because I didn't want to hold that chunky ass book anymore. So I am 26% in. I don't remember. I think I was 15% whenever we started, so I read about 10%. I'm still really having fun with this one, but there are just funny little things that happen. For example, I had told y'all that in the beginning of this book, major conflict is that one of the best friends gets taken in place of our main character, Loren. And so not long after that scene takes place and she's kind of talking about the trauma of it, like what are they gonna do? She puts some missing posters up. She decides to walk to work instead of getting like a ride from someone or a cab. She's like, yeah, I'm gonna walk to work. And to make it seem better, like to make the situation seem better, she's like, I'm gonna walk down these twisty alleys in residential areas that have these spells cloaking these neighborhoods that make it harder for dark slayers to come after me. And I'm like, I know that you're kind of using logic in this situation. At the same time, you're absolutely not using any logic in this situation. And quite frankly, call a cab. So yeah, I'm still struggling a little bit with the writing, but I'm having a fun time. 2 1/4 books is so awesome. I was only anticipating reading 1 book just because I thought that's all my brain could handle, but this really put me back in the reading mood. I'm very excited to actually pick things up, which hasn't been the case for the last few weeks. So I'm just excited to be excited about reading again because it is literally my favorite hobby. Obviously, I've made a whole channel about it. So it is my favorite hobby. I get a lot of excitement and comfort out of reading. So I'm just feeling mentally a lot better now that I'm like back in the rhythm of picking up books and like excited to read things. Let me know down below your most recent 5-star read or like a silly goofy time that you had reading a book. It doesn't have to be a 5-star read, just something that you had a lot of fun reading, because I would really love to know. I'm definitely looking for fun books that people are giving 5 stars and having fun with. If you've made it this far and you have nothing else to say but you want to say hi, feel free to leave a frog emoji down below, and I will talk to y'all next time. Bye, friends.
But you're a folktale.